Welcome back to Agent Tactics. My guest is the guest that you always love, and I love as well, Kristi Jencks. She is a Tom Ferry coach, team lead. She's helped so many agents in her network grow their business and her coaching clients. So I always love having her come join us. Today we're going to do a quick Q&A. We got a few people in here, and so I always and why I think it's always good to have Kristi on here is because I usually ask Kristi a ton of questions, and she always gives me really good answers. So. Kristi, good to have you, except that you're muted.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I had unmuted myself. I didn't realize that I had put my little microphone up. So yeah, this is good. And selfishly, I will ask some questions of our audience too, just because one of the things I'm doing right now is some research on what are you guys struggling with when it comes to listings? What are you doing that's working? What kind of sentiment you're seeing? So if you guys go quiet, I might just start peppering you guys with questions. So yeah, let's go ahead. Who's got the first question?
Okay, it's me, Kristi Melody, here in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I remember at Summit, I'm still reeling stuff in from Summit because it was so powerful this year, I felt like. But you had a great I think it was called a weekly summary, had like a blue slash on it. Willing to share, showing me how you did it, anything like that that you could help with, because it was so simplistic. It was easy to read. I have a great one that I use for sellers, but I love that one you showed at Summit for the buyers. So would love any information you could share with that.
Yes, and Melody was so awesome. She emailed me and I just haven't responded to her. It's in my email right now. And so typically what I do with that is I ask my assistant. I tag her, I say, yes, Melody, Kelsey will send it over to you. And so that's going to be happening here pretty quick. But I'm also going to pull it up in Canva, assuming that I can find the designs. So this brings up a really good point is I do have an assistant that creates these things for me. All I do is tell her what I'm looking for. So how that came about, and so I'm typing into Canva to see if there it is. Okay, whew. I was really worried, Melody, that I wouldn't be able to find my own thing inside of Canva. So let me share my screen and just so that everybody can see what she's talking about. So Melody, you're talking about this weekly buyer report, right? Okay, perfect. So I shared at the Success Summit, one of the things that you should absolutely consider thinking of implementing with your buyers is some sort of weekly report of when you have, a buyer broker agreement with them. You want to get credit for all of the things that you're doing. And this is a template we put together inside Canva. I will share it. Actually, hold on. I might be able to share it now, right? So if I just go to share and I go to template link, and I hit copy, and now I put it in the chat. See, I have to talk out loud because this is how much my assistant does for me. She's the one that does this stuff. 70, you think about the stuff that does it have to be done by me? Can it be done by somebody else? This is one of those things where I get an email from Melody. I definitely want to help her get these items. The amount of time it took me on this call wasn't very much, maybe 5 minutes to hunt it down, copy the link, and send it to her. But in that 5 minutes, as a real estate agent, I could have made a call. I could have done a lead follow-up, right? Like there's things that I could do. And so that's why I work with a lot of my assistants. So how this came to be was I found that here in the Phoenix metro area, we have a lot of inventory. And so our buyers have a lot of options, and that can become really cumbersome. And how many of you guys have ever had a buyer that tells you one thing, like, I don't want a home with saltillo tile floors? And I don't know if you know what that means, but it's that Spanish style home. I was working with a buyer for probably, they were in my database for well over a year and a half before they ever came to town. And when they came to town, one of the first things they said is, we don't want a Southwest style home. We don't like saltillo tile floors. And wouldn't you know that the weekend that I leave town, they go to an open house and the home that they find that they want to write an offer on has saltillo tile floors, right? So this idea of like buyers tell you one thing, but then they want to see something else, and you're running around, you're calling agents, you're previewing listings, you're doing all of this stuff for them, and they don't even know all the work that you're doing. So we thought, wouldn't it be great if we could start to get credit for all the work that we put in, so that when we say that I charge, X bananas, it actually shows that I'm worth that because I'm putting in a significant amount of work. So that's where we came up with this weekly buyer report. Now, if it's just you, right, and you don't have an assistant, this might be too much. You might just want to put this in an email. You don't need a fancy Canva graphic. And quite honestly, now I would, instead of creating a Canva graphic, I would just have Claude create this for me as an artifact, like put together a really nice AI prompt, give it to Claude. It'll put an artifact together for you, or put it in HTML email and make it look nice. So I would save time moving forward with this by not even having to copy paste this from, especially if you're working with like 5 or 6 buyers and you're doing this every week, all of a sudden on top of your listing reports, this could be cumbersome. But I have 2 assistants, and so this is, what it looks like. But talks about your weekly search. So how many homes we've toured, we're keeping track. Like, I want them to know, like, we've seen enough homes there, like seeing more homes is not always the answer. So we thought this is a way that we could talk about. Most of our clients actually see 6 homes and make a decision. I don't want to set the precedence that we're going to see 45 homes, because that sounds like a nightmare. I wish Eileen was on here, because Eileen, one of the things that she does so well, and go back and watch the Agent Tactics when she talks about converting online leads. One of the things that she does so well is she puts together a plan for her buyers, and she sets expectations moving forward. Because I don't know that any of us want to see 45 homes, and I think we all agree seeing 45 homes is not in our buyer's best interest. What happens when we do that? They get confused, right? They can't tell them apart. It doesn't help the buying process. It hurts it. So keeping track of the homes that we're still considering. So this is going to be the cookie house. This is going to be the dolphin house, right? Like the process that you have, your clients are going to name the house. You're going to help name the house with them. And those are the homes that we're still considering. So the reason that we do this as well is, so again, they send you a home with Saltillo tile and you're like, hold on. This only has, right, and I'll use a different example. This home only has a 2-car garage. Are we no longer prioritizing a 3-car garage? Does that mean we're changing our search, right? Like, whenever they send you a home, let's just see it. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? They send you a home that doesn't match what they told you that they want. Not even 80% match. It's so far out of left field. You're like, you already know, as their agent who's been searching for homes, you're like, I already know you're not going to like this home. So we keep that there. Then all the homes that are in their search criteria. So again, making sure that we're coming back and reiterating their search criteria. So here's your search criteria. Are these still the things that we're looking for? And we're not looking for 100% match. If we can get 80% of what they're looking for, that's going to be great, because that perfect home might not exist, or it does exist and it's not in their price point, or it does exist and it's not in the location that they want to be, right? So therefore it doesn't exist. And so then all of our efforts on their behalf, if you guys are doing any, of the Jimmy Mackin golden buyer letters, or I have a buyer letters, I have a buyer email, those are things you put on there. Social media posts, I see a lot of agents do this, like buyer need, who do you know type of scenario. If you're knocking doors, if you're making calls, if you're looking for properties for them, right? How much time do we spend each week looking for properties? So this is just a quick update. There's a lot of different things. In fact, what I would love for you to do and challenge you to do is to make it better and send it back to me, right? Because I'm sure that there are some gaps in here that are missing from it. But the idea is, whether you use a Canva graphic or not, you should communicate to the people that you have signed buyer broker agreements with. And maybe if you haven't even gone out with them yet, but you're starting to do some of this, create a report that says, hey, Melody, I know we're not doing anything until December. I wanted to let you know this week I investigated this community and this community. I noticed a couple things and some trends that I thought might interest you. And, let them know that you're working on their behalf. So instead of working privately and hope that they call you back and don't ghost you, let them know how you are doing this. I got a referral this past week from an agent, and it was so sad. She called me and she said, Kristi, this is a close friend of mine, and they bought their home in Phoenix in 2020, and the agent that they purchased with just really didn't do anything for them. And they called me and said, do you know anybody that could just like help us understand school district boundaries? I mean, like we're talking basic things, help us find a home inspector, maybe tell us about some of the communities and different things. And I said, so you mean just like regular buyer's agent stuff? She's like, exactly. They are not even high maintenance. I did my first consultation with them over the weekend. They were so kind, so nice. And all they said was, yeah, we're looking in this area. What do you know about it? What could you tell us? Are there any other, areas we should be considering? I was like, this is going to be so easy to go above and beyond for them because it wasn't even that as far as I can tell right now, they just wanted really basic questions answered. So hopefully, Melody, what was there another question in your email? I think there was. You had a question about the resume too, didn't you?
I got the resume. Thank you. I'm working on that one.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
So,
Thank you.
was there any other questions about that buyer report, or does anybody else want further clarification on that? You guys are too easy. Okay. What else can we help you with? Tammy, you jumped on today. What could we do for you?
And to unmute there for a second. I mean, I like this, that I like that a lot. And I think I'm okay with the buyers, and I'm definitely cleaning house on all the sellers, having them get real on the pricing, or maybe just deciding that it's best to part ways. So I think if anything, I'm probably getting a little ruthless in that area, or even new sellers coming on. I don't know, I'm slashing. I'm cutting a lot.
Let's
right
let's break that down. Tammy, what market are you in?
I'm in Gainesville, Florida.
Okay, Gainesville, Florida. Yeah. I don't know exactly where Gainesville is, but you said Florida, and I have a lot of clients in Florida, so I'm very familiar with the Florida market and the unique challenges that are in that marketplace. So when you say that you are becoming more ruthless with jumping into, who you're going to partner with to sell their home, what are some of the criteria that you're looking at? What kind of questions are you asking? How are you deciding who you want, like which listings you want to take and which ones you're going to let someone else take?
Um, so I got a couple things going on. A lot of my people are now coming through YouTube. And so the first things first is that they're going to have to fill out a questionnaire. If they're
Awesome.
not willing to fill out the questionnaire and start with some background information so I don't waste the time on a phone call. So we start with that. And so if you're not going to fill that out, we're not gonna go further. Next thing is you have to book a call. I have to know that you're a real person, and I actually have to see you. In our questionnaire, I'm asking for things like, why are you selling? The timeline for selling, have you already talked to an agent? Um, are you, what kind of idea do you have on pricing on there? Because I'm looking for the person who says, I don't have to sell, I want to sell, or I'm not willing to do any updates or repairs. And so if we get to the point that all the questions have been answered and now we're on the phone call, a few people that I've just recently let go are not willing to do any updates or repairs. And I've shown them the market, and I've just said, hey, at the price that you're looking at, this is what the closed homes look like, and your home doesn't look like that. And are you willing to do what needs to be done to get there, or are you willing to do a different price? And if they're not willing, coupled with, well, I don't have to do anything, then I just tell them I'm happy to be the second or third agent in. I wish them luck.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
So, let me ask an additional question. So when you say that you're letting them go, where are you letting them go to?
they've interviewed some other agents, so they're willing to go to an agent that has told them the price that they want to hear.
Yeah. Okay. So, one thing that I'll offer as a suggestion, you can take it or leave it, is that I have a client right now that we are rejecting. At the beginning of the year, we were only taking about 75% of the listings that were presented to us, and for the same reasons, Tammy, that you're like. So again, what she mentioned is motivation, right? And condition and reasonability, right? Like, are they being reasonable? Are like about, either the price or the condition? And if that's not in alignment, well, we're going to release them. So we looked at this opportunity in her business and we realized that we were letting go of a lot of business that maybe we didn't have to. Maybe we could figure out. And so we actually brought in, this is not somebody on the team. This is not like even brand affiliate. Like, this is just a specific person that takes these types of listings and eventually gets them sold. Now, it could be working with a very difficult person and beating them down over time and doing that, right? Or it also could be that it was not part of her brand, in that it was not a listing that she would want to market because it was in condition or something like that, right? So the price was right, but it still wasn't a listing. So we brought on a partner, and we've actually been able to generate quite a bit of revenue from referral by just taking these opportunities. So you mentioned these, YouTube opportunities. We get them into the questionnaire, and I've got some additional questions for you, and the book a call, right? And they're not a right fit for Tammy at this moment, but could you identify maybe someone who does more as is, maybe someone who, who is, super hungry, wants to do some of this stuff, and set up some referral opportunities. So that might be, you might not want to, but it might be something to consider when it's not a right fit for you. Who would you refer it to?
So I do have a question on that. So if they're not reasonable, and I know in the heart of my hearts that it's not going to sell at that number, um, and I'm referring it out to somebody else. I mean, I don't know how I would get paid on it if it's not going to sell with me, and because the price is just out of line for the market, then how would they have success in selling it?
So it depends on why you're turning it away. If it's just over price, yeah, this person will take your listing, right? You know what I mean? There are agents out there that want to use it as a fishing boat. Think of it this way, right? So I'm just going to use this listing because it's in a neighborhood that I want to be in, and I want my sign in the yard. They're not worried about their list to price ratio. They're not worried about any of that. They're like, I'm going to hold so many open houses. I'm going to get a buyer or two from this listing. And so now, how could you leverage that? Well, figure out how you want to do that. But the idea is, don't just throw away that opportunity. Could we parlay it into something else through referral? And there are some agents that will take that listing. The consumer will realize, if it's a good agent, they'll realize and they'll do a good job, get the price reduction, and maybe it will sell. Maybe they'll never reduce the price, but you still referred it as an opportunity, and then you can come back as the second agent or the third agent when they want to be more realistic. Yeah,
The
it's just
way
something to think about.
Okay.
I 100% agree, because this is exactly what we're doing right now. I would rather make, let's say on a $500,000 listing, what is that? A $12,000 paycheck, $15,000 paycheck, somewhere around, yeah, $15,000 paycheck. I would rather make $3,000 on a referral than spend $3,000 marketing and it not get sold. So that's exactly why we've stepped back from taking listings.
So, so the other thing, Tammy, is talk to me about the technology, because this is something that I see that is not structured well with a lot of people, and I don't know your structure. So I'm asking for the sake of, maybe there's a coachable moment in there, but maybe someone listening doesn't have it structured this way and they're doing YouTube. So tell me about your tech stack for the questionnaire and for book a call when it comes to your YouTube. So they're watching your video, you have, I'm assuming, a link or something there. Like, take me through that process. If I was to watch one of your videos, how do I engage with you? How do I get the questionnaire, and how do I book a call?
Okay, so there is a link in the description as well as a QR code. And it depends on which channel you're on, but they're both going to take you to, we use Go High Level, and
Mhm.
we've created a website and landing pages inside of there. So it's going to take you to a landing page with that link or QR code so that it will say, you know, if you want to work with us, and let's say it's on the buyer side, there's two different types of buyer forms. There's the one if you're in my area and we're going to work together, that's one form. But if it's a buyer that is looking for a referral agent because they're outside of my area, it's going to take you to a similar form, but it's going to be, it's going to be a referral agent and will help you find a referral. So once they complete the questionnaire, my VA goes through the questionnaire, and if we have information and we'll be able to help them, we will send them a link to set up a call. And then the call is 30 minutes, but we have most of the information to get a working idea of what the price is going to be and be able to have a conversation. Um, if the motivation's not there or it's something that they're thinking about in 5 years, then we're not going to set up a call. We're just going to be like, we've got some standard forms that we're like, hey, this is really, really great. Glad that you're looking at it. We'll, send you some tips on getting ready to buy, and we'll keep in touch with you when you're closer to the date. Then we'll work together. And I should say, the YouTube channel is a relocation channel. So it's people that are not usually in our area but moving here. And so someone who's never been to the area, we set them up to be like, come in, take a tour. We are not going to
Mhm.
drive you around and be your chauffeur for the day. But, based on what you're telling us, we will give you specific communities to visit, and then you can hone down if you like the area or we can readjust. But tour guide is not on my job description.
I love it. Tour guide is not on my job description.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
try to get them to bottom of funnel. And then once they're in there, and then now we're working together, um, then they're in our CRM. And we are using High Level as our, weekly communication and staying in touch with them.
Okay. So I pulled up one of her videos so that I could follow along with this. I just grabbed one. Why is everyone leaving Gainesville, Florida? The truth
Mhm.
nobody's telling you. So a couple things that you mentioned in there. She says, so she does have, and actually I'll share my screen. Um, so she does have in here an email, her phone number, that, and then book a discovery call. So she's using her Google booking link, right? Which I
Yeah.
love. If you're still, I like Calendly a lot. And I used Calendly for many years. When Google launched their free version of Calendly, I was just a massive fan right away and I moved over. So you can create as many booking links as you want with as many different rules as you need inside of your Google Calendar, completely free. And it's not as robust as Calendly in that it's not going to send those automatic reminders and do some of the other workflow, but I have found that it is robust enough for exactly what I need. What about you guys? Are you guys enjoying the Google booking link?
I like it, and since I have the paid Google Suites, I do have the reminders set in there. And one of the things that I am just starting to do, and I don't know how well it's going to go over, is I'm going to create a calendar link for paid bookings. And maybe that's something to talk about.
Nice.
I am getting a lot of people that don't want to fill out the form, and they just want everything is like, it will just take 1 minute. It will just take one question. It's just going to be 5 minutes, and they just want to ask something real quick and they don't want to go through the form. So I'm creating a link that's like, if you want a 15-minute or 30-minute call and you don't want to go through the form and you just want to talk to me, then we can have a paid meeting. I don't know if that's going to go over or not, but I'm like, I am getting way too many people that just want to talk to me because they're like, oh my gosh, I just get to talk to you. And I'm like, this is such a time suck. It's just such a drain.
Well, I think Jeremy's actually really well positioned to answer that because he gets a lot of people that want to bend his ear. And he did create a paid booking link. Jeremy, do you have any experience on that?
Yeah, I mean, I do have a lot of people. I usually will send them to I have like a thing that's like a 25 bucks to pay for. I'll tell people, hey, if you want to ask me questions, go watch this first, and then we can have a conversation past that and schedule a paid thing. I mean, agents at Real is a little bit different story, but most of the people that reach out, that's usually what I do because I've given out so much free information that I can't do it anymore. It's take too much of my time.
What
And
about,
that's actually something we worked really hard with Eileen and her scripts, trying to get to the point where people weren't just getting what they needed and then ghosting you.
yeah, I think that's pretty awful. Are you having it with the buyers and sellers that are also reaching out to you and wanting to pick your brain? I'm getting a lot of seller people who reach out to me and they're like, hey, will you take a quick look at my listing and tell me why it's not selling? But they don't want a referral agent and they don't want to switch agents. They just want to bend my ear. And those are the kind of people that I'm like, I don't have a problem looking at it, but I need to
No,
put you into a
I
paid
wouldn't.
program.
Usually what I will say is, oh, I really appreciate you thinking of me to look this over. What has the conversation been with you and your agent, and what do you think is lacking?
Okay.
And then I won't give them feedback. I'll say, hey, look, I really appreciate it. Those are all solid notes. Maybe you should ask your agent if you are open to hiring another agent. I'd love to talk to you after you fire your agent because unfortunately I have a duty and I can't cross an ethical line. Many agents will, but I'm not going to cross an ethical line because of your agreement. That's an ethical boundary I can't pass. So I appreciate you. And if you think that those things are the reasons why, then maybe I would ask your agent what they're going to do differently.
Okay, that's good.
I
Yeah.
was thinking the same exact thing, that happens a lot, and you do have to be really careful because I mean, we as NAR members, but also in your board, whatever your local board rules are, we're not allowed to, solicit somebody that's already listed actively with someone else, and it could be considered soliciting even if you're giving them advice. So that is that is very difficult. I am intrigued by the idea. Um, for a couple reasons. Florida has so many different options when it comes to the buyer broker agreement, right? I mean, you guys have all these different
Yeah.
versions. You also don't like here in Arizona, you know, um, it is our representation agreement is full fiduciary to our client, but you guys have these transaction broker options as well. And so for someone who is not, it doesn't want to sign a buyer broker agreement, or for someone who doesn't want to enter into an agreement, it's an interesting concept. I don't know, definitely speak with your broker because from an E&O perspective, I don't know what this looks like, but it might be really interesting about having this booking link where it's like, yeah, I'll give you some advice. Go ahead and click on this link, and I charge like an attorney
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. That's
because they're soliciting
paramount.
your expertise. They're soliciting
Mhm.
your expertise, and there are people who there we know there because there are a portion of the consumers that for sale by owner and do things like that. There are people that just want some tips in this, and they want to go do it on their own. Um, I don't know what that looks like, but okay. So one thing that I couldn't find, Tammy, was on this particular video, it didn't take me to a landing page on your website. It just took me to your homepage on your website. Um, so
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about that. So my question for that is the booking link is very, very clear. Do they not get that landing page with the survey from Go High Level until they book a session?
So I will put it in the chat. We literally just finished this yesterday. One second. And we've sent them to the editor to update all of the videos with these links instead of what's there now. So they won't actually have that ability to book a calendar link anymore. That's going to be removed. And it's
Excellent.
going to
Okay.
be replaced with this. And
Okay.
it's going to have a
Perfect.
better website. Like I'm showing you the back end part of it right now. Um, but that's going to be where they go first. And then once we vet them through the system, then they will get that other link if we'll allow them to make an appointment.
I love this. So I'm also going to assume that each of these are going to be trackable by the video, so we know which videos are performing and getting more clicks than, right? Because this one, why everyone's leaving Gainesville, might generate a lot more inquiries on the clicks than say a different one. And now we kind of know more than just views and things. Okay, I love that. So so she's transitioning from the booking link to this link, which is going to do first name, last name, phone, email, best way to reach you. And this is her buyer one. So are you a first time home buyer? Have you signed a buyer's agreement? Right. And so here's what I love about this is it's pretty robust. And if they go through this, you can assume that their intent is pretty high. If
Correct.
they bail on this, which might also happen now, not all of these are required. So this is required. So, okay, I'm going to go through. Yeah. So you've got some that are required, I see, and some that are not required. So they may skip on the best time to reach, in their time zone. This one is required. So the vast majority of this is required. And assuming that you're going to go through all of this, you're going to be pretty serious. And so you'll have less tire kickers. Are you then, so for the people that do bounce on this and don't take the next step forward, they may just call you guys directly. That's another thing, right? Are we retargeting these people are we retargeting on YouTube already? So if they watch one of your videos, show them the next video. Okay, so
Yes.
see,
Mhm.
she's doing the full process. So some people may be like, oh, I'm not ready for all of that, but they continue to watch her videos and they continue to see her because she's retargeting them through other ways. Yeah, that's fantastic. So the last question I'd ask on the videos, are you guys using trackable phone numbers like this 352-505-7654? Tell me about that phone number. Where does it go?
Okay, so it's not, I don't know if I would say it's a trackable phone number. It is, I'm using Open Phone as the company that is where that number goes to. So it is accessible by my VA and it does a recording of all phone calls coming in as well. So if I'm not there and I don't hear it, I will always know and they will always know what the communication is in there. And it has autoresponders in there. So like if they call after hours, it thanks them for the call. And then we have like the snippet autoresponder. So it tracks everything and we have a record of everything in there. And the VA is really the one who's inside of it. So if they don't book and then they come straight to the phone number or email and they're like, well, I don't want to fill out the form. Like I'm literally talking to a guy right now who's like, I don't want to fill out the form. I just want to talk to you. The VA will be like, hey, thank you so much for your time. We want to take care of everybody and this is the most efficient way to do so. Please complete the form. And if they're really going to push on, they just don't want to do it. I am tired. I don't want to work with you. Like if you're that stubborn and you won't make my life easy, I just feel like you are sucking the life out of me. You're going to get what you want and then you're going to bounce and there's no commitment. So I
Yeah,
don't chase them too far. They are in the system. They will get the emails. We will continue to follow up and either they're going to unsubscribe because they can't get what they want quickly or they'll decide to fill out the form and then we
yeah.
can move forward.
So just to clarify, are we using this phone number? And I love that you're using open phone, right? So a couple things to take note if you're listening or watching, right? So she has a system, like it's not just going to her cell phone. And so if she's in a listing appointment or on a buyer's appointment, it's just, we're going to rely on her to go back and call that person if they didn't leave a voicemail. And then it doesn't go into her CRM because she got busy on 3 more appointments or got 17 more phone calls, because that's what most agents do. They're running their business off of their cell phone number, and that's dangerous because you are going to lose opportunity by doing that. She's using open phone, and she's also has someone helping her monitor her VA, so she's not missing anything. The only thing I was wondering is this are we able to track our phone calls by lead source? So like they're coming from YouTube.
No, it's the one phone number for whether it's seller channel or buyer channel or a sign. So no, I would say we don't have different phone numbers, and that would be really, really good to know where they're coming from.
Yeah, so maybe in the future you can think about that. Obviously, it's not broken. You're doing fantastic. But for anybody listening, one of the things that I find really valuable, and the technology is changing so quickly that this could be, obsolete a month from now, right? But as of right now, one of the benefits of having trackable phone numbers is to be able to say, you know what? Now, her VA in her questionnaire, it could ask, how did you find us, right? So then she knows if it was a sign call or if it was from YouTube or something like that. Like, that's what a lot of people do. And that's not a broken system, but it is really nice to know we use a call capture system that allows me every single month, I'm able to see how many sign calls did I get? How many Google calls did I get? I don't get any YouTube calls, but let's go ahead and say how many YouTube calls I get, right? But I also use them for any other marketing piece that I'm going to employ. So if I sponsor my son's football team and they put a banner up at the stadium, the phone number that's going on that banner is just going to say Castile football. And so I know if I generate, because how many times have you sponsored something or you're doing a specific mailer and you don't know how many leads you got from it? And we're all pretty much accustomed to these trackable links. She's going to use a trackable link with each video so she can see when they click on that, but we don't also employ that same level of technology into our phone numbers. And it's been I joke about it all the time, but I remember very vividly my very first real estate coach, he asked Meryl and I on a coaching call, he said, how many sign calls do you get? And Meryl was like, oh, we don't hardly get any. And at the time, Meryl's phone number was on our signs. And our coach challenged us. He's like, that's not true. He's like, and Meryl's like, no, I answer my phone every single time. And he goes, well, what if you're in a listing appointment? He goes, then I call him back. And so our coach was like, so you're telling me that you call back every single missed call? And Meryl was, he's not a liar, but he was like, yeah, I do. And we don't get hardly any sign calls. And because we're coachable, we listen to our coach and we changed to trackable phone numbers. I remember that next year we sold 4 homes from sign calls. And it was like, wow, our eyes were opened. And so we started using these trackable phone numbers on different things. So Tammy, I appreciate you letting me do a deep dive into what you probably weren't prepared to talk about, and you handled really, really, really well. Hopefully any of you guys who are doing YouTube can see the structure that she set up, because it definitely makes a difference on her time and her energy, but also in her process and making sure that she's investing her money in terms of video and technology and systems and all of that, so that she doesn't feel like she's spinning her wheels. So,
And thank you for your feedback and your thoughts. I really appreciate it.
Can I?
Melody, looks like you have something to ask.
Yes. Oh my goodness. This has been a blessing. So I hope it's okay. I'm not to Jeremy or Tammy's level yet. I mean, they're like the rock stars and I'm like the little infant in the nursery still. But I do have a YouTube channel and I'm a one-woman show. I don't, have an assistant or VA at this point, not yet. It's coming. But I'm looking at how well Tammy has her processes in place, and I'm thinking I probably need to go back to some of my older videos that are still getting traction and making sure that I have that form. Mine's just a Google form right now, but that's okay. And have that on there instead of promoting Calendly or things of that nature. Like I need to have more of a system like Tammy has, because I do have my phone number on everything. I do have my everything's coming to me, but I waste a lot of time answering calls that.
Do you know how to use to create a QR code?
I do, yes.
Okay.
You think that
So
would be easier, Jeremy?
I create a QR code, and on your YouTube channel you can put in a logo.
Okay.
Okay. And so what'll happen is when your video is playing at the bottom right-hand corner, it will be your logo. So most people are watching from their TV, so they're not going to click on the TV and go find your information.
Mm.
Okay. So I don't think they can. So if most people are watching on their TV, give a QR code or even put it on the video, want to connect and put the QR code with where you want them to go, and they can scan that and then straight into there.
Great
Yeah.
idea.
So I went ahead and pulled up now again. It's so funny because I don't coach Jeremy on YouTube. He's a master. Well, here, let me push play so you're at least, you know. Oh, no, it's not gonna work. We're just gonna let it go. I feel bad making you pause on a blink. So so I noticed that you do have your link right here, and she asked the question too about like should she go back to some of these videos that are still performing, and you know possibly update this. So it's sending to your home page of your website. Now, who's hosting your website?
It's actually my brokerage sponsors it. It's called Prime Agent. It's not
Okay.
my favorite.
So basically right now, and she's sending them to her brokerage's website to her subdomain, right? So you can see it's realtyexecutives.com, and then it's her section, which is a great hack for this, right? It's a great way. The only problem is it's not allowing you to do any tracking. And so what I was going to suggest, and one of the easiest lifts that I see is, so for someone who like a lot of agents who have a website, you can redirect them if you don't feel like you're super techie, but you do have the ability to customize where they're going. You can send them to a blog section. So you could take that video, turn it into a blog. And now, you know, so I don't know if your Realty Executives website allows you to do that. If it doesn't, you can create Canva sites. So you probably have to have the pro version of Canva. I'm assuming you probably have to have the pro version of Canva. I don't know, but a Canva site is also really easy. I'm in the process of updating my my website, but right now I have a Canva site. So let me show you how interactive. So this might be like if you don't have the investment, Melody, right now to have your own website, right? If you know whether it's a Lofty or a Follow Boss is a website, a Luxury Presence, any of those, right? If you don't have that, one of the things you could do is create a template Canva site for your video, and you could drive them here. It serves as a blog. It's not going to give you SEO and some of the other stuff, as if like Jeremy, we have his videos go back to his Lofty site. And Jeremy, how much are you paying for Lofty? Like $40 a month or something?
Yeah, it's cheap, $40 a month.
Yeah, so for us right now, Lofty is the best option for him. So and this is something that we're working on, is creating trackable links back to his blog. We're using Lofty's ability to have a trackable link. So now we can track each of his videos, and we can see what they're clicking on by bringing them back to our website. It gives us the ability, like Tammy has, to retarget them, not just from retargeting them from watching the videos, but people who are reading our blogs and who are going to our website. We want to be able to retarget them. But this is a Canvas site that I just created. And look, you can book a consultation here. It takes you to my booking link. It's got video embedded in there. They can, you know, look at a couple different things. I also have some other videos on here. And the only thing I don't like is it doesn't update live from Instagram. So we have to go in and like change these every once in a while, or I can just redirect them to Instagram. But this is almost essentially free, and that might give you a little bit more longevity, because that Realty Executives page that you're sending them to, while it's not bad, it doesn't meet their needs. It is either find your next home. Well, what if this was a listing video? And you know, they can contact you from there, so I like it better than nothing, but you could probably do a small tweak.
Canva sites, you said, correct?
Yeah, so Canva, it's a Canva site, and they have a ton of templates. So I'm sure you might just have to like Google, you know, how do I create a Canva site? But again, that's going to be, do you have the Canva Pro?
I do.
Yeah, so that's no increase in cost for you, and it allows you to tell this, because here's what I don't love, right? Is that Melody's not able to tell her story. She's not able to control the narrative from right here, right? It gives a little bit of information. It's better than nothing. But imagine if she could take them to a Canvas site that would still redirect here. So she has a button that says search for homes. Well, now it redirects them to her IDX, and they can still search for homes, but it's, you know, what's your home worth? Or to the survey like Melody's. You could have the book a consultation, fill out the questionnaire, right? Like you have a little bit more control. You can display some of your reviews. You can talk about your philosophy. Like there's so many additional things that you can control on this without a heavy lift of investing in a website right now. I also love these, so if you don't have a place to, so like, and Tammy, I don't know where you could send them for this, and it might not even be necessary, but for everybody that's listening, whenever someone, I have a couple text messages right now that I need to respond to, and I have a couple DMs that I need to respond to. Whenever someone wants to think about coaching with me, think about, anything with Kristi Jencks, I always send them to my Canva site first. I said, that sounds like the best place to start. I want you to learn a little bit more about me, my philosophy, and what it looks like to work with me. You can have this as an agent, right? So if they say, I am curious, I got a referral from you, or someone's like, hey, I need someone in Knoxville, send them to a page like this, where it's got some video, some testimonial, and you can control the narrative. Yes, they can Google you. Yes, they can go to your Zillow profile, but those also can feel very sterile. And you know what I mean? Like this gives you a little bit more flexibility, and you can soften it, and you can put your own tone and your own brand. And it's free for the most part if you have Canva Pro. Okay, do we have, I think I have time for at least one more question. I want to have 2 minutes before the the end of the hour to transition to my next call, but I can do at least one more.
Silence. Everyone's
I
trying to
know.
process.
We'll
Isn't it
let you go.
interesting?
Get to your next call on time. Have
I
Yeah.
like that, Rebecca. I like that.
My coach always, because he has another call at 10 that's a group call. I coach with Patrick Berry, and sometimes he leaves our call a couple of minutes early. He goes, I got to go pee. So yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I call it a
Not-
human moment.
Not that you have to tell us why. Like he always says, I got to do it. I go like, Patrick, that's TMI,
All right,
We all
Kristi,
know
go
if we're
pee.
ready
We'll
to
see
be-
you later.
Yeah. So
I
everybody.
do. I call it a human
Go
moment.
get ready. And Jeremy, go back to bed, lie down, and feel better. Okay.
Thank you. I will right now.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
Have a great
Thanks,
week. See you
Kristi.
next week.